Okay, so let's take a look at how you can plot the 2D histograms in Python using Plotly. So first thing, what we will do is we will open command prompt or terminal and type in python double dash then version, and that should fetch the version of Python. Then we will type in pip install Plotly. You can also use Plotly Express. Either one of that should work for drawing the plots. Next thing, we can also take a look at Jupyter Dash Lab, right? Once all of these packages are installed, we are good to go. You can start Jupyter Notebook, or you can use Jupyter Dash Lab Server. Either one of that would work and opens a browser instance where you can open the dashboard and run the code, right? Another alternative is using Visual Studio Code, where you can install two extensions, first being Jupyter extension and second for your Python, right? These two extensions along with the packages that you already installed should take you for executing the notebook inside Visual Studio Code, right? Now go to view, then command palette. Here type in Jupyter and then create new notebook. Right here you can see we have text box to write our code and run it. Now the next thing is you can import Plotly Express as px and import numpy as np. Right now the thing is I can use np random seed, can get it for value of 2. Then I need to set the x variable np.random.normal, right? Here I'm going to set the size of 500. Now that's for value of x. You can also do the same for np random normal, size again 500, but this time we will raise it to 2, right? So we got our x and y set up. Next thing would be we are going to use px dot density and then we use heat map. Now our 2D histogram will make use of heat map function, right? Pretty odd, but yes, it is what it is. So x, then we set y to y, then we have two things to set. Title equals to density heat map, and also we have labels to set. So label, and within curly bracket we can put x value with x-axis as its label. Then for y, what we can do is can use y dash axis, right? So that's one of the values set up. We can go ahead and use figure.show to draw our 2D histogram. So basically it's heat map with the data we passed to plot the 2D histogram. So we run this and let's see, it will start the process, and finally it will also show you how much time it took to run this particular plot, right? If there are any errors, it will also pop that out below. So here you see density heat map as title that we passed, then labels x-axis, y-axis, and notice that within your heat map the values are added in such way that it looks like a histogram, right? So if you want to play around with some of the bean value here to get more control, what you can do is simply, let's say if I use enter here, and then I can expand this into n beans, x set to value of 10, n beans, y set to value around 50 or 60, so 10 to 50, and here you see the beans have increased, and now this looks proper histogram, right? So if we keep on adding few of the other parameters, like say we have value for z, right? So we set z to z, right? Then there is also one more thing to add, that would be our hist function, and we are going to make average set for this, right? So if we run this, let's see what happens. So the name z is not defined because we will have to set some value for z there, right? To set the value of z, what I can do is I can also add x plus the np random normal. I can also add the same x plus np random normal value and paste it here, and that should work, right? So if I run this, let's see if that works now. Now you notice that it does work, right? Even if we remove the value of z and hist function, it will continue to work with that legend on the right and our typical bar. So we'll add and see the difference when we add the z value, right? So let me remove the comma, and we got our aggregation function hist func set to average, showing us the value on the plot, right? So it should show you the difference, right? Now you can also add text auto, set it to true. So if we remove this and use text auto set to true, and if we run this, that should show you the range there. So your histogram here within the set of values will be visible. It will look more a bit of like spam on the plot, but it will show you of the range through which you can easily read around, right? Because usually histograms, that too with heat map, would be difficult to read unless we add the values here, right? So in that context you can make use of the text auto function, right? Another thing, you can also take a look at color palette, right? So for color palette, what we can do, we can use color continuous scale. So color continuous scale, we can set this to say GNBU, which is kind of typical for heat map, right? It looks also good. You can also experiment with the extreme colors like magma, right? And it will look something like this. You can try blues, which is more lighter, right? And then there is also a rainbow, right? So we run that and we get the output within our histogram, right? You can also search for this color continuous scale, and then we check it on search with Python next to it. It should take us to the documentation, right? Now here I can check various available options. Let's say if I choose mint, and then we will use also this Viridis, right? So let's go with mint, right? And then run this. Notice the output difference, and then there is also one more which is sunset. So let's go with that. So we have one more sunset. That looks pretty good too. So you can experiment around with some of those values and see what looks good enough, right? Now you can also add marginal plots. So simply adding your marginal x set to say rug plot. We trying to put a rug plot there, so we can use marginal y and x set to rug, and if we run this, it should hopefully should not cause error. So the color is the issue, so we'll try to get rid of the color part for now. Let's run this. It will go with defaults, and notice that the marginal x and y values change the rug plot. Right, now the thing is, we can also add box to this particular two parameters. You can run them and you get box plot on the right and also on the top. Right, you can also set violin to see the difference. Right, so check the violin and there you go. Right, so you get the difference, some of the difference there for this particular chart. And let's then add the histogram view on the top of this marginal plot. Right, so if we run this, we get the histogram in heat map. On the top of that, we also get the marginal plot view with histogram in it on the top, on the right. Right, so we have like created our basic 2D histogram. We had just add some of its properties, its colors, things that work and things that didn't. We also added some custom properties. Right, so we have changed some of the parameters there as well. So you can take a look at these.